up, YouTube? It's RSMario here, bringing you another episode of my news roundup show. Alright, I'm not sure when this comes out because a lot of stuff came up this week, and hopefully it comes out Saturday. If it doesn't, it'll probably be Monday, because Sunday videos never do very well. So, whatever day I see you, I'm seeing you. So we got some pretty interesting stuff on this episode. So we're going to cover a little bit from the Nintendo Direct that we saw. We have some interesting stories about Overwatch. I finally get to talk about Overwatch on my channel. I've been trying to come up with a reason to talk about Overwatch. I've been playing Overwatch forever, and I never am able to make content on it. So we get to talk about that. Some good news and some bad news for Nintendo, as well as apparently CD Projekt Red is rendering whole vaginas now in video games. So that's a thing. So of course you want to continue getting videos like this from me. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell button, do all that stuff that YouTube requires you to do to continue getting videos from me. Follow me at twitter.com/rsmario128. Like my video tweet, share my video tweet, and I will shout you out at the end of the video. And of course, follow me at my second channel, The Lootbox Hero, where it's more commentary based. And let's get on into the news. Alright, so first up here on our news coverage, we have the Nintendo Direct. And I have to say, this Nintendo Direct was pretty good. I saw some people, and I streamed the Nintendo Direct here on the channel. There was some technical difficulties, like the sound kind of messed up a little bit at one point. For some reason, I could not see my chat. People was actually in my chat, and I couldn't see, so I apologize. But I couldn't see chat. Like when I looked over, it didn't show anybody. But there was people in there talking to me, and I guess they think I ignored them. I don't. It's my bad. But it is what it is though. I did stream the Nintendo Direct. I think it was pretty good. We got a lot of stuff. Like I talked about the Bitten Kaido's remake. I talked about that in a previous news video. I talked about the Metroid Prime remake several times over the last couple of years. You know what I'm saying? They gave us a DLC for Fire Emblem, for Xenoblade, for freaking Splatoon. So much DLC, so many remakes. They have finally announced Pikmin 4. And we also got some, probably the biggest, best trailer for Tears of the Kingdom we could have ever asked for. Outside of straight up gameplay, you know, so I think it was pretty good. And one of my predictions from my prediction video, you know, the one that y'all didn't watch because only 12 people watched that video, I predicted that Tales of Symphonia was coming to Switch, and guess what? It's coming to Switch. The Prophet, I told you, watch me, man. Sometimes the Prophet is right, cuz. Alright, but yeah, man, I thought it was pretty good direct. Now, of course, next up is the Pokemon, whatever's going to happen on Pokemon Day. Of course, they haven't announced anything because Pokemon Day is like the 27th, so it's like, a couple weeks away now. But you know Pokemon has to do something. Alright, and so we get into some bad news, some good news for Nintendo. According to Ars Technica, Judge tosses out Joy-Con Drift class action suit because of Switch's pop-up EULA. Kids can't sign the license, but that also doesn't give them the right to sue. So, you know, basically an EULA is a user agreement that pops up whenever you use any software, any new hardware like game consoles or whatnot. You usually sign a license agreement with the people who make the software. And that is when you scroll down to that long thing and there's a checkbox right there. You hit the checkbox, you hit OK, and you go on to get to your game. That is a EULA. All right, it's everywhere. All right, and when you sign that, you sign up to the rules of the license according to that company. And so these kids did that when they got their Switch and they opened it up and they took it out of the box and they cut it on. They signed the EULA. And that was it. Now, technically, I would say that kids can't sign legally binding documents, but maybe something is a little bit different with this. So, we read a potential class action lawsuit over the joystick Joy-Con drift experienced by Nintendo Switch users has been dismissed, with a federal judge ruling that Nintendo's end-user agreement, license agreement, EULA, for the console bars such lawsuits. In a filing from late November, but seemingly only recently noticed by Games Media, William Alsup, United States District Judge for the Northern District of California, ruled that two plaintiffs, both minors, were not able to sue Nintendo because setting up the Switch requires an agreement to a EULA that has arbitration and forum selection clauses. So basically saying you can't sue disputes with Nintendo because of the technology has to go through arbitration. So the minors and their mothers were originally plaintiffs, but after the arbitrator ruled that the mothers could not pursue the claim because their children had accepted the EULA, they attempted to refile the case with the children as the plaintiffs because Nintendo's EULA requires a person to be 18 years old to sign it. The mothers argued that the children could not have agreed to it and should be able to pursue the case because technically people under the age of 18 really can't sign legally binding documents because they are children. I remember when I was going to college, I was 17 when I was going through my financial aid stuff. So my parents had to be there with me. My parents had to sign everything. I signed some things, but my parents had to be there with me because technically I was a minor and I was signing legally binding documentation. So yeah, technically you can't really do that. Ow, that hurt. Did anybody hear my elbow pop? That just hurt. Also, Alsup, the judge, ruled that the parents who purchased the console were the true owners and that they failed to assign ownership to their children, having already sent the parents to arbitration. The judge denied the plaintiffs' request to amend their complaint and dismissed the case. So that is actually really interesting because that really takes Nintendo off the hook because honestly, like, Joy-Con drift is real, and basically what it is like dust and debris and things get in between the joystick bottom piece and the sensor that senses where you're moving the joystick. So your character just drifts like a drunk, you know what I'm saying? Because the electro sensor in there is detecting the dust and debris under the bottom of the joystick. Thus, drift happens. And this happens with like a lot of Switch systems, including my own, and people usually just buy new Joy-Cons instead of, trying to do something else with them. Nintendo apparently will fix it for free for you, though. Alright, so then we have some bad news for Nintendo. So, Nintendo cut sales forecast for its aging Switch console after a disappointing holiday season. So, of course, it says the key points to this article, which I like the way they do this. Look, journalism companies, journalism outlets, take notes here because I love how they do this. Key points. Nintendo said it now expects to sell 18 million units for the fiscal year ending in March 2023, which is coming up. Technically, the 2022 fiscal year. But, it ends in March of 2023 because that's how fiscal years work. Down from previous forecast of 19 million, the company said that the reason for the cut in the hardware sales expectations is because the Switch did not perform as expected during the holiday season. Another issue Nintendo contends is that the Switch console is nearly 6 years old. Sony's rival PlayStation 5 is 2 years old. Oh, you think? Now you want to talk about how old the Switch is? You know what I'm saying? Hurry up and make another one then. Shoot. Nintendo on Tuesday cut the outlook for its Nintendo Switch console and games sales and slashed its profit outlook for the current fiscal year. The Japanese gaming giant said it now expects to sell 18 million Switch units for the fiscal year ending in March 2023. Down from the previous forecast of 19, Nintendo said it now also expects sales of 205 million software units, down from the previous projection of 220 million units. That is probably 210 million units. That is probably because of Tears of the Kingdom. I guarantee you they expected that 210 unit number probably came out before they pushed Tears of the Kingdom back to June or May. You know what I'm saying? That's more than likely what happened. So, yeah. So this definitely leans toward that Nintendo is probably going to, announce a new system this year, probably release it next year. So we're getting toward the Super Nintendo Switch. We're getting there. All right, it's going to take a little bit of time, but we getting there. Nintendo, okay, they're learning that, okay, we can't keep milking the Switch. It didn't do very good. And the main reason why it didn't do very good is because of saturation. Okay, the market is saturated. Everybody that wants a Switch more than likely has one. You know what I'm saying? Some people have multiple. I know a friend of mine, he bought a Switch for each one of his two kids because he was tired of them fighting for it. So he bought another one for the other kid. You know what I'm saying? But, so basically market saturation and the fact that the system is 6 years old, it's not selling the way it used to. So here we come, Super Nintendo Switch, baby. All right, so now the thing I've been excited to talk about, Overwatch. I love Overwatch. I've been with Overwatch through thick and thin. I've been through Overwatch through 2 years of content drought. No characters, no updates, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? Overwatch 2 came, not too bad so far. The launch was kind of rocky, but we in here though. You know what I'm saying? So, Overwatch 2 X One Punch Man. Why One Punch Man works and what to expect from future collaborations. So, Overwatch 2 is collaborating with One Punch Man in like a Fortnite collaboration, but also kind of not. Because Fortnite, since it doesn't necessarily have a character itself, it just puts characters into the game. So, if you're Goku in Fortnite, you can shoot people or you can hit people with Kamehamehas. You know what I'm saying? It's up to you. But in Overwatch 2, it's just going to be a skin for that character. It is going to be like that character is, cosplaying as whatever the collab is going to be. This time is One Punch Man. So, Overwatch 2's first IP collaboration is coming in Season 3, and it's with a property few could have predicted. Blizzard added One Punch Man skins to the game this next season, with Doomfist leading the charge in his Saitama outfit, complete with signature red and yellow costume overpowered One Punch Man hero wears. While we don't know who else could be getting a One Punch Man skin, this article was made before they announced that Moomin Rider was also going to be in there, and I think Moomin Rider is Soldier 76, so we know that's another one of the skins. Beyond Doomfist, but comicbook.com did speak with Overwatch 2's commercial lead VP John Spector and art director Dion Rogers. I'm not going to go through the entire article because this is a long article, and some of these questions, to be honest, are kind of dumb. So I only picked out the best stuff. I didn't want to be on this joint all day. So of course, I noticed in the preview of the skin that he's carrying a bag of groceries. Is that an emote? What is that? Dion says that there are some other cosmetics related to the events that we'll dig into more, I think, later. But yeah, there's fans of the show, so we pull things that we thought were funny or that we just remembered from the show. And there's a scene where Saitama obviously has groceries that he takes back to his apartment. So, so you'll find that's a feature in the event as well. So basically, he's got a carrying groceries emote. And they also said, are voice lines a factor in this as well? And he says very much. So some quips or some quotes from One Punch Man, you'll be able to use Doomfist and use those voice lines. I can't wait for the event myself. I don't know which one I will more. I don't really play a lot of Doomfist, but I might have to learn though. Alright, so then we go from good Activision news to bad or at least weird Activision news. So the saga of Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard just took a wild turn. UK regulators suggest Activision Blizzard break itself up to get the deal approved, which I think is kind of dumb. But this is that European Union-ish level of control they have. Like, just block the sale. Don't ask the company to break itself up. Like, what's the point of that? So Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick recently went on TV and said that the UK would become a Death Valley if they didn't approve his company's $69 billion sale to Microsoft. And now know why. The country's Competition and Markets Authority announced provisional findings on Wednesday that the deal would threaten competition in the gaming market, and even suggested that in order to get the merger approved, Activision would need to sell off the Call of Duty part of the business first, which is arguably the whole reason Microsoft wants the company. All right, like what other Activision game would they want other than Call of Duty? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, shoot, I can even understand them saying sell Blizzard off. You know what I'm saying? Because really, what they want is Call of Duty. You know, Xbox and PlayStation compete closely with each other at present, and access to the most important content like Call of Duty is an important part of the competition. The CMA wrote in a press release, reducing this competition between Microsoft and Sony could result in all gamers seeing higher prices, reduced range, lower quality, and the worst service in gaming consoles over time. I don't know how not having Call of Duty on PlayStation does that. And this is coming from a PlayStation fan. I just feel like something feels weird with this, to be honest. Those remedies, as laid out in today's report, include 4 stunning possibilities. Diversiture of the business associated with Call of Duty. That means diversiture basically means diverting or separating the two. So basically breaking Call of Duty off into its own thing. So Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer, Treyarch, and I think there's another studio that makes Call of Duty stuff would have to break off. Or they would sell the Call of Duty IP to somebody else. The diversiture of Activision segment of Activision Blizzard will basically meaning that Activision will break off and probably get purchased by Microsoft anyway, or maybe Activision will break off and then the Blizzard King part gets purchased, and then the same thing, diversiture of Activision segment and the Blizzard segment. So basically breaking Activision Blizzard apart again, and then Activision gets eaten by Microsoft, Blizzard goes off to do its own thing, and then the prohibition of the merger altogether, basically, which is what they should do, deny it altogether. That's the main thing that they should do. Because here's the thing, it kills me that why all of a sudden now, you know, CMA and all these regulatory bodies want to wake up and do their job. Like, you didn't do this when Comcast became a monopoly. You didn't do this when Comcast bought Universal NBC and started to eat up parts of the media, of the entertainment industry, to force you to use their telecommunication monopoly to watch that content. You didn't act then. You didn't act when AT&T bought Warner Brothers because they want to do the same thing that Comcast did. You didn't act when Disney bought Fox or when Disney bought Lucasfilm. You didn't act then. Now Disney owns 33% of the industry that it happens to exist in, which is unprecedented since, like, what? The Rockefellers owned most of the oil industry? You didn't act that. You didn't act then. You didn't act when Microsoft bought ZeniMax, which ZeniMax was a massive company that owned other companies that owned other companies. You didn't act then, but all of a sudden now, it's a problem. Okay, yeah. Somebody at Sony called somebody at the UK and got a favor done for them. This is pretty much what happened. So then we go from Microsoft getting screwed to, CD Projekt Red animating vaginas. So it looks like Witcher 3's next-gen update added realistic vaginas too. CD Projekt Red's upgraded RPG may have taken 4K textures to an entirely new place. This is, I believe, from Kotaku as well. So at least Kotaku is good for something, I guess. So, highly anticipated Witcher 3 Wild Hunt next gen update boasts a lot of things, including ray tracing, DLSS, 60 frames per second performance mode, and it seems fully formed labia. So yes, it appears that the updated version of the wildly popular CDPR game, which dropped as a free download in December, has added realistic genitals for its full frontal ladies. So, complete with a neatly trimmed landing strip. No word on whether this lewder aspect of the game will make it into the Netflix adaptation with Liam Hemsworth. Man, nobody want to see that man's junk. Well, somebody probably wants to see his junk. Just not me. So the last thing we have to talk about, of course, is Hogwarts Legacy, because everybody and their mama is talking about Hogwarts Legacy. I already made more of a spicy video on this on my second channel, the Lootbox Hero. You can check that video out in the link in the card or in the link in the description. You can check that out as well, if you wanted to. But yeah, so essentially Hogwarts Legacy is the newest part of the Harry Potter universe. It's being made by WB Games, or a studio under WB Games. It's not written directly by J.K. Rowling, but it is based on her world. And because more than likely she either gets licensing per copy, which I kind of doubted, or has gotten a lump sum of licensing at some point, she's making money off the game. So trans advocates and trans allies don't want people to play the game or buy the game or stream the game because it's going to help somebody that doesn't like them. Okay, so my take on this is play the game that you want to play. I mean, I'll say, because from what I've been seeing here, they have pretty much gone to straight up bullying people. Like, you can see Hassan, big time streamer, on why he didn't play the game.
Only reason why I'm not playing this game, and I know a bunch of other people are not playing this game, is because we know that it's not worth it to get fucking bullied endlessly and called transphobic endlessly in when we have massive queer communities and audiences. That's it. Everybody knows, everybody fucking knows how much leftist motherfuckers love the chirp on the internet. They got no power. All they do is chirp, chirp, chirp. And that's precisely why so many fucking people that would otherwise like play it, maybe even raise money for, charities or whatever, they're not doing it. I knew that this was going to happen. That's why I wanted to set it up ahead of time. I got fucking yelled at endlessly and relentlessly on my alt account. Like, they were making it seem like I was already transphobic for even thinking about this. And now look at that.
Which I think is kind of crazy. You like, if I can understand if you're advocating for something and you're trying to protect people, but the last thing you want to do as an advocate is to become the very thing that you're advocating against, which is a bully. You know what I'm saying? Like, they literally bullied girlfriend reviews or gamer girlfriend reviews. They bullied her to tears because she was playing a game they didn't want her to play.
Line or like I'm barely into the second combat here, and every time I look at chat, it's just the conversation is just like
maybe we can do like
bothering
I'll
me.
be right back, like a little break or something.
You can take a break if you want. I'll just stop talking and I'll just go fight and do the combat.
Just
Y'all done did it now.
I have to say that's pretty messed up. You know what I'm saying? But it seems that this boycott has failed because the game had like 1.2 million people watching it when it launched a couple of days ago. So it looks like it failed. This might be one of the biggest releases of the year. Alright, that studio made bank. And to be honest, I'm kind of happy they did. Because, I mean, the advocates tried to shut them down. And this is the thing that's kind of crazy. Like I said in my video, if I lost my job because of some old BS that was on the internet, that is my villain origin story right there, okay? But yeah, all you can really do in this life, full of unethical choices, like buying a cell phone is unethical because it was built by a kid in China and it was built with materials dug up by a kid in Africa. You know what I'm saying? The food is unethical because the fertilizer runs off into the ocean and destroys the ozone layer. You know, the burger you eat, the farts from that cow will cause holes in the ozone layer that's going to kill us all in 20 years. Everything is unethical in some way, specifically if you live in the first world. So all you can do is try to be the best person you can and just live your life. That's it. All right, if somebody tries to pressure you, oh, you got to post this black square because if you don't post it, you don't like black people. They're not trying to do that for you. They're trying to do that for them. Just be the best person you can be to black people and just go on about it. You know, if somebody says, oh, don't buy this game. If you buy this game and you hate trans people, you want them to die. Ignore those people. Play the game that you want to play, but also be nice to trans people. That's it. So, that's about it for this. This is probably the longest episode I've ever done. But like, comment, subscribe, and as always, people, keep it real and live your best life.